Brought to you by Penguin.
Obsessed. The Autobiography. Written by Johnny Sexton and read by Sam O'Mahony.
Prologue. Sitting in the kitchen on a grey morning a couple of days after returning from the 2023 World Cup, I was hit by a sudden realisation. I had time on my hands. In some ways this was a good thing. The Sexton family hadn't been together for nearly 2 months. Retirement from rugby meant that I'd been able to drive Amy, Sophie and Luca to school, which was lovely, but it had been such a rare occurrence while I was a player. There were other simple things to enjoy, like going out for breakfast with Laura or going to the driving range. I had great plans for my golf, like getting down to scratch. Why not? I had the time. But that morning in the kitchen, I had too much time. Laura was out and the kids were at school, and suddenly it was just me, the dog and my thoughts. When you're a player, every minute in your life is accounted for. Even the time that you spend doing absolutely nothing, just lying on a couch recovering from a training session, is all part of a plan designed to make you better at your job. Laura used to laugh that I was world class at recovery. I was tops at basically doing nothing. I could always claim that sitting on a couch watching rugby matches had a purpose. Even if it didn't look like it, it was work. Now that purpose was gone, and it felt weird. I was suffering from withdrawal symptoms. Only a day or two previously, the Irish squad had dispersed at Dublin Airport, and we had gone our separate ways. Now I'm sitting in the kitchen thinking, I wonder what the lads are up to. The previous summer into autumn had been the happiest time of my 18-year career. In fact, that comment probably applies to every Andy Farrell camp over the previous 2.5 years, ever since we'd started winning consistently. So many laughs, so much positive energy. Okay, so our journey ended earlier than we'd planned, but that didn't mean the end of our friendship. A couple of hours after we lost our quarter-final to New Zealand at the Stade de France, we were still in the changing room, still in our gear, drinking beers and trying to come to terms with the finality of it all. It was never my style to be in a rush to pack up after games. That dressing room cocoon is special. It strengthens connections. This time I was even more reluctant to leave, because consciously or subconsciously, I knew that my connection to this group was beginning to weaken. You think, I'll never be in a changing room with these guys again. The same realisation occurred on the bus back to our hotel that night. I'll never share another post-match bus journey with these guys. Once back in the hotel bar, we sat around in a big circle, players and partners. We had beers and took turns as DJ. Keith Earls and I were presented with magnums of fine red wine to mark our retirements. The bottles were meant to be kept for a special occasion, but they didn't last long. This occasion was special enough. Laura took Luke up to bed about 3 a.m. The two of them commuted to France every weekend during the tournament, while Amy and Sophie stayed with Laura's folks. Luca was like a zombie child, having been up all day. I kept going for a while. Part of me wanted to see the sun come up, but sometimes tiredness just gets the better of you. I knew we'd have all of the Sunday together anyway, as we weren't checking out until the Monday morning. Players, coaches, backroom staff, partners, kids. It would be like an old-fashioned Irish wake, a big gang brought together in communal sadness, numbing that sadness with drink and song and laughter. Our hotel was about an hour north of Paris, a golf resort out in the country. That Sunday afternoon, we found a village with a bar that was showing the England versus Fiji quarter-final. More beers. From there the lads got a bus into Paris, but I grabbed a cab back to the hotel to see Laura and Luca. I didn't fancy being around anyone other than my teammates, coaches or family. When you lose a big game like a World Cup quarter-final, you go through different emotional stages. That Sunday night, I was in the self-pity phase, raging at the injustice of it all, fuming at decisions that had gone against us. Watching France lose their quarter-final to South Africa by an even narrower margin, 28-29, was weirdly comforting. France were hosts and justifiably one of the favourites to win the trophy, but they got no breaks that night, with the Springboks getting all the 50-50 calls. It reminded me that no one has a right to win the World Cup. It cheered me up. Well, a little bit. The next morning we had to check out by 11 o'clock, basically to make way for the Springboks who were checking in. The irony. The team we'd beaten in the pool stages were now preparing for a semi-final where we were heading home. If you had seen us in our private lounge at Charles de Gaulle, you'd have never guessed that we were in mourning. Our flight wasn't until that evening.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?